most of you here probably know the dog, know his background. He was bred by the president of SAS, Luciano Mussolini, who judged here some years ago. And he's from Auckland, Makehouse, I think. Yep. And for those that don't know, Auckland has been one of the most influential dogs in Italy. Auckland is currently in China, and I saw him there last year. And he was had, in my opinion, the top. There were two dogs. Pacross was one, and Auckland had the best progeny groups there. The type, and including the colour, and colour isn't type, even though sometimes you get the impression people think it is. The type and the colour of Chile is typical of Auckland Makehouse, in the better level and quality of his progeny. And of course, all dogs, particularly those that have a lot of stud work, as Auckland has, they have ordinary dogs, middle of the road dogs, and some very good dogs. Auckland is considered to be an important dog because he has more better ones than middle of the road ones, and the better ones, this is an example of the better ones. And so for people in Australia, that obviously is very important, because there is no point in having a dog that's a son of Spot and looks nothing like Spot and produces nothing like Spot. You want a dog that does reflect his breeding. What comes with that, of course, is the good and the bad. What tends to happen is breeders always expect from a stud dog only good things because their bitch is perfect, right? No stud dog is as good as their bitch, and they expect far too much. So when I say that this dog in all likelihood will be prepotent for his sire line and the mother line, but on the sire line you need to understand that that comes with everything. You can't just simply only expect to get the best of everything, and that's why it's important to know the history of a dog and his breeding, and also understand your own mother, females breeding, and see things not through rose-coloured eyes, which most people do. So what we're really saying is this is an above the, well above the average Auckland son that reflects very much his breeding, and therefore the expectation should be that there is a level of predictability that you can expect from this dog. So if you're going to use him, as with any dog, all you need to do is do some research, and of course the research on his mother and father line is well documented. One thing that's really good, of course, and again, there's no size issues with the father or the mother line. He's absolutely middle size, and I don't need to elaborate on the importance of that. He's a dog that is of stretched proportions, and I mentioned earlier about you get the full package if you've got a dog that's typical of its breeding. In this case, we're talking about Auckland, and Auckland and his brother are both of stretched proportions. So that stretched proportion is typical of the line, and so if you don't like dogs that are stretched and you prefer them to be compact, you're in the minority nowadays. You need to understand that comes with the territory, as will the colour. Good head and expression, broad skull, dark eyes. You can see, and I haven't bothered putting it in the breed survey, slightly up-faced, which a lot of dogs are like that nowadays. And for what it's worth, once upon a time that used to be in the breed standard, and it was removed some years ago by the SV. One thing that's really good, of course, and again, there's no size issues with the father or the mother line. He's absolutely middle size, and I don't need to elaborate on the importance of that. He's a dog that is of stretched proportions, and I mentioned earlier about you get the full package if you've got a dog that's typical of its breeding. In this case, we're talking about Orcan, and Orcan and his brother are both of stretched proportions. So that stretched proportion is typical of the line. And so if you don't like dogs that are stretched and you prefer them to be compact, you're in the minority nowadays. You need to understand that comes with the territory, as will the colour. Good head and expression, broad skull, dark eyes. You can see, and I haven't bothered putting it in the breed survey, slightly up-faced, which a lot of dogs are like that nowadays. And for what it's worth, once upon a time that used to be in the breed standard, and it was removed some years ago by the SV, probably because there were too many dogs like that, and so I will just take it out of the standard. It's just simply something to observe, and I've already said that 90% of long coats have that head. It's linked to long coat. And he's got a beautiful coat, of course, and that's got nothing to do with suggesting you're going to get long coats. I'm just making that comment. He's got a lovely strong under and upper jaw, very powerful neck, good length of neck, high withers, straight, firm back line, very good forehand, very good croup. If you were to be picky, as Kylie just pointed out, which she won't do when she's showing him, I know. Slightly high set tail, but that really is a cosmetic thing, right? It's a bit like saying, oh, you've got a beautiful face. What I found with this dog, and he certainly, you can't say that he needs more angulation, right? None of us here need to be shown anything, really. I think everyone here understands dogs as well as I do. They just enjoy hearing me articulate my views on it. What I noticed with him is that some dogs that are deep in hindquarter angulation always look deep in hindquarter angulation, and part of it is the carriage of the dog. So what happens with him, and this is what happened when I was surveying him, when he was standing and he was together, looking and normal, the hindquarter angulation balanced off nicely with the forequarter angulation and didn't concern me. Then at a point he lost interest, and he sort of started to fall down on himself a little bit, and it's getting a bit deep now. I gave him the benefit of the doubt, but the point I'm making is that just something to be aware of, that hindquarter angulation can be affected by the carriage of the dog. And just like I'm here deeply angulated, and now I've got none because I'm looking around. That's something you need to be aware of when you're handling the dog under an experienced judge. I just make that comment. One thing I would say is he should be a little firmer behind, which is of course what you'd expect. You know, you just can't have angulation that is of this construction and the hocks remain firm. However, there are some dogs that with that carry the firmness better than others. I've noted that his hocks should be firmer, but they're not of a concern. It's a notation. The character and the temperament is what it is, and of course that's wonderful. You know, he's vital and he's full of himself. So, you know, what can I say other than what I've said? And the important thing I think that I would emphasise is that sometimes you can be giving a critique on a dog and the dog doesn't reflect his breeding, and then he doesn't pass on what he looks like. Whereas in my opinion, you can rely on this dog producing what you see in himself, and that's valuable if you've got the right bitch. Okay, so thank you very much. I enjoyed very much surveying, and I'm sure everyone here, the day was made all the nicer by the dog being here. A little round of hand for it. Yeah, thank you.